2 days ago, I crossed the silent checkpoint at the edge of the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant. The guard barely looked at my permit. Snow drifted over cracked asphalt, and the skeletal Ferris wheel of Pripyat stood frozen against a sky the color of ash. I am not a thrill seeker. I am a structural engineer, hired unofficially by a private contractor who wanted updated footage from inside Reactor 4, specifically beneath the new Safe Confinement arch. Officially, no one goes alone. Unofficially, money moves faster than radiation. The wind cut through my jacket as I approached the steel arc covering the old sarcophagus. The new Safe Confinement gleamed under floodlights. Too clean, too modern, like a coffin plated in silver. Beneath it lay the ruin heart of Reactor 4, the place that burned in April 1986 and turned night into something brighter than day. I carried a dosimeter, thermal camera, and a recorder. The air felt heavy, like it pressed against my lungs with invisible hands. My Geiger counter clicked in restless bursts. Within limits, they said. Safe enough for a short stay. Inside, everything smelled metallic. Dust floated like dead snow. The remains of the original concrete shell rose in jagged angles. I followed faded markings down a corridor that should have been sealed. The first strange thing happened near a collapsed stairwell. My radio crackled. You shouldn't be alone. The voice was distorted. Male. Calm. Not from my team. Identify yourself, I said. Silence. Then 3 slow knocks echoed from somewhere below. Knock. 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 The sound vibrated through concrete. Reactor 4 was entombed. There should have been nothing alive inside. But something had answered. And it was beneath me. I shouldn't have gone down. But the stairwell, though cracked, still held. Each step exhaled dust like a dying lung. My flashlight beam cut through darkness thick as oil. The Geiger counter ticked faster, not dangerously high, but uneven, like a pulse skipping beats. Halfway down, I felt it. Warmth. That was impossible. The reactor core had long since cooled. The infamous elephant's foot, the mass of corium formed from melted fuel and concrete, was cold and hardened decades ago. Yet heat radiated from below. The air trembled. Then I heard it. Breathing. Slow. Immense. Concrete shifted with a grinding sigh. A crack split along the wall beside me, and from it leaked a faint orange glow, not flame. Not electricity, but something softer. Organic. The floor vibrated under my boots. Knock. 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 This time it came from beneath the concrete itself. My radio hissed again. Still feeding, the voice whispered. Who is this? I demanded. 40 years, it replied. 40 years and it grows. The stair beneath me crumbled, and I slid down the remaining steps, landing hard in a lower chamber. The chamber shouldn't have existed. It wasn't on any blueprint. At its center lay a fissure, a jagged wound in the earth. Inside, something pulsed with dim red light. And with each pulse, the entire room inhaled. The reactor wasn't dead. It was alive. I approached the fissure, ignoring every rational thought screaming at me to leave. The red glow brightened, revealing shapes within the crack. Twisted metal rods fused like bones. Blackened graphite blocks protruded like broken teeth. But between them moved something fluid. Something dark. My thermal camera malfunctioned. The screen filled with static except for a single white mass far below. Far hotter than anything should be. The breathing grew louder. Suddenly, the shadow rose. It did not climb. It unfolded. Limbs extruded from molten darkness, thin and elongated. Its surface shimmered like liquid glass. No eyes, no mouth, yet I felt it watching me. The Geiger counter screamed. I staggered back, tripping over debris. The shadow extended one tendril toward the wall. Concrete blackened instantly at its touch, not burned, erased. My radio crackled with frantic static. They never sealed it, the voice gasped. They fed it boron, sand, lead, but it was already awake. The creature stretched upward, impossibly tall. The chamber ceiling warped around it, bending like softened clay. It spoke without sound. Inside my skull. You opened the door. I clutched my helmet, heart hammering. I didn't. You did. The fissure widened. The reactor core was not a machine anymore. It was a womb. I ran. The corridor behind me twisted, no longer straight. Walls leaned inward as though listening. My dosimeter maxed out, screen flashing errors. At the top of the stairwell stood a figure in a scorched uniform. A liquidator. His helmet visor was opaque black. His suit bore the faded emblem of 1986 response teams. I knew the history. Thousands sent in to shovel graphite from the roof. Many exposed to lethal radiation. He should not have been there. You saw it, he said, voice echoing hollow. You're not real. We buried it, he continued. But it burrowed deeper. His gloved hand pointed downward. The breathing reverberated again, louder now. The steel beams groaned. What is it? I asked. He turned slowly toward me. Not what exploded, he said. What came through? The lights flickered. The liquidator's form began to crumble into black dust, dissolving mid-sentence. Seal it, he whispered, or it will finish growing. Behind him, the floor cracked open, and from the fissure below, multiple shadows began climbing. The new safe confinement structure above groaned as if strained from within. Through a broken window, I saw movement, shadows pressing against the inner surface of the sarcophagus-like silhouettes behind skin. The reactor was expanding. Not physically, dimensionally. Space felt stretched, distorted. Hallways looped back on themselves. My GPS spun uselessly. The breathing had multiplied, now dozens of overlapping pulses. I realized something horrifying. The explosion in 1986 had not destroyed the reactor. It had ruptured something beneath it. A boundary. The shadow creatures moved with synchronized purpose, their forms coalescing into taller figures. They did not rush me. They simply ascended. Toward the surface. Toward the world. My radio screamed with overlapping voices. Containment failing. Growth accelerating. 40 years incubation complete. Outside, sirens wailed. Not from emergency crews. From the structure itself. I found the chamber again, or it found me. At its center, beneath twisted fuel rods, lay the mass once called the elephant's foot. Except it was no longer inert. It pulsed like a heart. Each beat sent waves through the building. Inside the corium, I saw shapes, faces frozen mid-scream, hands reaching outward. Not victims. Embryos. The original meltdown had fused not just uranium and concrete, but something else, something drawn to the energy release. It had waited decades, feeding on residual radiation. Growing. The shadows circled me. You are warm, the voice echoed. You carry energy. I felt heat draining from my body, as though invisible veins tapped into my blood. The heart beat faster. The chamber ceiling cracked open to reveal night sky beyond the sarcophagus. The confinement arch trembled. Something was about to be born. I don't remember climbing out. Only light, cold moonlight over the silent rooftops of Pripyat. Behind me, the new safe confinement stood intact. Too intact. No alarms. No sirens. My dosimeter read normal. Reactor 4 was silent. Had I imagined it? Then I noticed the shadow at my feet. It did not match my shape. It was taller. Thinner. When I moved, it lagged behind by a fraction of a second. Breathing echoed faintly in my ears. The radio lay dead, but one final recorded message remained. Subject exited containment. Subject. Not operator. I looked back at the steel arch covering Reactor 4. Nothing moved. But the Ferris wheel in Pripyat turned slowly in the windless night. Knock. 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 From beneath the earth. And from directly behind me. The reactor had not needed to break free. It had only needed someone to carry it out.